Good evening. It's Thursday, the 1st of December, and it's time for the news on RIK 2. The UN is intensifying its contacts with the leaders of the two communities in Cyprus, as well as international players, aiming to kickstart the Anastasiades-Akinci settlement talks, which stalled 2 weeks ago over the thorny issue of territorial adjustments. The UN Chief Special Advisor Spanbas Aida met separately this morning with President Anastasiades and Turkish Cypriot leader Mustafa Akinci. Following talks with the President, Aida described the discussions with both leaders as very good and admitted that the post-Montpellerin situation has become complicated. There is an ongoing effort, he added, with the goal of getting the leaders back to the table. Montpellerin was a setback, the UN official noted, adding, however, that the Swiss talks deadlock was an exception to the rule. Aida said he still believed it was possible to achieve further progress in Cyprus problem negotiations before the end of the year. The UN Special Advisor hosted a dinner for the two leaders this evening, their first face-to-face meeting since the failure of the second round of talks at Montpellerin. Aida travels to Athens tomorrow for talks with Greek Foreign Minister Nikos Kotschas and concludes his initiative on Monday when he will hold talks with Turkish Foreign Minister Mevlut Cavusoglu in Ankara. The United States is also contributing towards the resumption of talks with U.S. Assistant Secretary of State Jonathan Cohen expected in Cyprus later this month. The State Department believes that the two sides in Cyprus can still reach a comprehensive settlement and reunite Cyprus in a bizonal bicommunal federation. Meanwhile, Russian ambassador to Nicosia, Stanislav Osadchi, said that a high-level official is expected in Cyprus in the near future to discuss the current state of play in negotiations. Following talks with ruling Vysi leader Verof Neofidou, Osadchi stressed that Moscow was in favour of the continuation of talks and wishes to assist in this direction. During this phase, he added, Russia is in consultation with all sides. Neofidou said that the two sides must find a way to kickstart the dialogue. Meanwhile, Mustafa Akinci will be travelling to Brussels early next week for contacts with European Union leaders. According to Turkish Cypriot media, Akinci will be in the Belgian capital from December the 5th to 7th for talks with European Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker and European Parliament President Martin Schulz. He will also be meeting the EU heads of foreign and security policy, Federica Mogherini. The Turkish Cypriot leader will be briefing the so-called parliament in the occupied territories tomorrow on the latest developments in Cyprus negotiations. The briefing had been scheduled for November the 24th, but Akinci cancelled due to high blood pressure. Turkey and Russia, two of the main backers of opposing sides in Syria's civil war, said they agreed on the need for a halt to fighting and the provision of aid in Aleppo, but deep divisions remain between them over the conflict. Turkish Foreign Minister Mevlut Cavusoglu said he and his visiting Russian counterpart, Sergei Lavrov, agreed on the need for a ceasefire in Aleppo, but added that Turkey's stance on President Assad was unchanged. Russia is a main backer of Assad, while Turkey supports the rebels fighting to oust him. The rebels have come under siege in eastern Aleppo after rapid advances by Syrian government forces in recent days, bringing them to the brink of a major defeat. A ceasefire must be achieved in all of Syria, notably in Aleppo, Cavusoglu told a joint news conference in the Mediterranean town of Alanya, adding Turkey was in agreement with Russia in broad terms on the need for a ceasefire, humanitarian aid and political transition. Lavrov said the bloodshed must stop in Syria and the region, adding that Moscow was ready to talk to all parties in the war and that it would continue cooperating with Turkey. But he also vowed Russia would continue its operations in eastern Aleppo and rescue the city from what he described as terrorists. Syrian rebels yesterday vowed to fight on its eastern part of Aleppo in the face of sudden government advances that have cut the city's opposition sector by a third. The plane that crashed in Colombia, killing 71 people, including most of a Brazilian football team, had no fuel on impact, according to initial findings by aviation officials, prompting an investigation into why the plane flew under those conditions. The comments by the Civil Aviation Authority late yesterday confirmed the Bolivian pilot's final words to the control tower at Medellin's airport on a crackly audio obtained by Colombian media. A recording of the pilot's final words can be heard, telling the control tower the plane was in total electrical failure, without fuel. He requested urgent permission to land before the audio went silent. The BAE 146, made by BAE Systems plc, slammed into a mountainside next to the town of La Union outside Medellin. Only 6 on board the Lamia Bolivia charter flight survived, including 3 of the Chapecoense football team en route to the Copa Sudamericana final, the biggest game in their history, a journalist and 2 crew members. International flight regulations require aircraft to carry enough reserve fuel so they can fly for 30 minutes after reaching their destination in case they need to circle before landing or fly to another airport. Now a look at the weather forecast. Overcast skies will bring isolated showers tomorrow with the possibility of snowfalls over the Troodos Mountains. Gradually, however, weather conditions will improve. Winds will be strong westerly to northwesterly, force 5, turning strong, force 6 in certain regions, with moderate to rough seas. Temperatures will rise to 12 Celsius inland, 15 in coastal regions, and 2 over the mountains, where frost is expected to form. That's all from us here. Join us tomorrow for more news in English. Have a very good evening.